Okay. Hi guys, it's Friday, and it's Friday, so it's been a long week, right? And we're so excited. Marissa's here, and we have our friend Amy Suddleson here, and she is. We were just talking for a long time. By trade, you help people organize their lives and their homes, but I think it goes much deeper. Like we were saying, it goes beyond just organizing, I guess, for organizing's sake, but it goes into a deeper, I think, spiritual level. And I think that's when we met Amy at our store, and it was weird because you came in, you said hi, but then I felt a real connection to you. Like a real connection in terms of like, okay, you know, like just as a person, and like just you're a very spiritual person, and I think it was just really interesting. You've always been on my mind, and I think with everything that's going on right now, I was like, you know what, we really need to talk to Amy. So thank you so much, because I know it's spring break for you right now at home. And we just wanted to like get to know, okay, so first, can you just tell us a little bit about your background, because I think it's fascinating, from even before you became an organizer, because I think that has a lot to do with how you approach your, you know, what you do philosophically. So just tell us about what you do and what you've done.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you. And when we met, I was at a very difficult place in my life because my dad was really sick, and I live in Los Angeles, and I'm from the Bay Area. And I've been following.
We ended up going to high school to the same high school. Obviously, you're much younger, so I was like, no, I didn't know you.
I don't know about that, but so it was interesting because I was on a walk the morning I was coming, and I'd been following you on Instagram, and I'm somebody who I always tell my clients, and I really believe it, which is purchase with purpose. And so when I purchase with purpose, that means I put thought into it. I know that it's the right thing for my lifestyle and my wardrobe. And I had just been eyeing the Parker Thatch bags.
I love that.
So I am somebody who I like to feel and touch. And when I had to come up at the last minute because my dad was ill, I said the whole weekend I'm going to be giving and giving and giving. And while I feel a little bit of guilt, you know, getting off the airplane, taking an Uber to your store, which is really what I did.
That was so good.
I gave myself permission to do it.
Okay.
And so I came in, and I just, the whole vibe and you guys and just the realness and the conversation of both of you, it just felt like I was at lunch with my girlfriends. And
that's how we felt about you too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and it was so nice. And so we all, I think, have gifts to give and share, and you clearly have yours as a designer and providing such a fashionable and purposeful items that I said, oh, I've got to go there. So I got off the airplane and I went straight there, and I remember just walking in, and I said, okay, I looked at the sizes, I felt them, and I was like, I'll take that one, I'll take this one, and it was just, it's interesting because I've heard your stories before, and you say, oh, you know, they bring happiness, but they do. They really do. The bags bring happiness, and today, funny enough, and it's very ironic, my post was to bring happy into your spaces.
I love that.
And I think right now, it's even more telling because we are at home, and just to bring that happiness in. So I want to first thank you guys for that.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
But really, it's amazing. But really, my background is I grew up in the Bay Area. We went to the same high school.
So weird, but amazing.
My mother passed. It's crazy. And I actually think you had mentioned you went to school with one of my cousins, which is an even smaller world. One of your Hertz brothers. Yeah.
Yep, of course.
And so coming up to the Bay Area, I'll be honest with you, it's hard for me. It's emotional because my mom passed away when I was a junior in high school, and I was coming up because my dad was sick. And so basically I grew up there, and I went to college at UC Davis, and I was a design major. So I studied design, specifically visual design. And that's what, you and I can connect with, but it's the way that we visually see things. It's the way things aesthetically appear to our eye.
Yeah.
And I went on to event planning. I lived in LA and I was an event planner for Universal Studios and Brentwood School, and I did their events for their alumni. And it was just really kind of transforming empty spaces into whatever the client imagined or this or that. So it was all the visual aesthetics. And what I started really realizing is the hours didn't exactly work for a lifestyle of a mother. You can't do a 4 a.m. load in. And so and you're at events until 1 in the morning. And so I basically just decided, what can I do to help people with what I can visually see? And so it kind of started with, I have a 14-year-old, like we talked about, and I had a play group over, and somebody needed, truly, this is how it all started, they needed a Band-Aid, and I couldn't get up because my baby was on my lap, I was, giving her a bottle, and so she went into the hallway, and she just opened it, and she just gasped, and she was like, and I thought something was wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you okay? What happened? And she's like, what is this? Like, who does this?
That's amazing.
And it's just so funny because I think about those bins that I still have in that closet.
Yeah.
And I got them when I was in college. Same reason, to just organize all of that. And what I'm really starting to recognize, and I think if you talk to somebody who's deep and understands it all, is that I was organizing and trying to create control because life felt so out of control.
Fascinating.
And that's really the premise of how I got started in what I do. And I think back to when I was a little kid, and throughout my life, I was always trying to bring order. And I'm in touch with it, and I'm verbal about it with my clients because they're trying to get some sort of control for so many different reasons.
I love that. But you know what? That segues into a question that Marissa had. Marissa, you had that kind of question, right? When we were talking about, can you ask Amy your question? Because I think that really goes to what she's saying.
Because I find it fascinating that you recognize that that's where it came from. And my question was, how have you maintained that balance of recognizing what's going on within yourself and being an organized person? Does that make sense? Because I just find it incredibly fascinating, especially right now when things are so chaotic and crazy, that how do you maintain a balance of recognizing what's going on within yourself by also keeping order around you and not kind of pushing it away? Does that make sense?
So that's absolutely, and that's a great question. And I'm going to tell you, I think it's always changing and evolving, honestly, because I think during this time, I have given myself permission and talked to so many of my clients one-on-one and given them permission to let go, to surrender, because we have all these emotions, and I could exhaust myself cleaning and scrubbing and doing every corner of this house and, going through absolutely everything.
Yes.
But we also have to self-care.
Yes.
And so when you're talking about that balance, and I think the key is, Marissa, is being aware. So it's knowing how you can cope and be okay, but not running into those crazy neuroses that we get and those obsessions.
Yes.
So it's kind of quieting that voice and just saying, I always just say to my clients, like, I don't believe in perfection, but so what's good?
I love
enough?
that. I love that.
Yeah, I always say good enough.
Yes.
So is this good enough? Does this work well enough? And if you can be content with that, then you're there. And if you're not, then the question is it emotional, internal?
Yep.
Or is it physical, external? And sometimes if you really figure it out, it's not externally, it's coming internally.
It's emotional. It's internal.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so fascinating about you as what you do, and that's why I see such a it's beyond what you do. And I think that's why I'm so fascinated by you is it's what you know, if you like your whole philosophy, if you clear your space, you organize your space, you have more time to look within. And I think it's fascinating what you do, and I think it teaches people a lot more than just like clearing your space or organizing that cupboard. So
because there are so many people. I mean, I wake up every day and there's a new person on Instagram friending me, and then when I look, you know, people are waking up and all of a sudden they want to be an organizer. Everyone wants to be an organizer because you know how to fold a towel and you know how to clean a closet and you know how to make your shelves look pretty. But that's great. But I say to my clients, like, I'm not just putting your pencils with your pencils. I'm not putting your rubber bands with your rubber bands. I'm really saying to you, how do you utilize this desk?
yes.
What things do you need in here to prevent you from leaving your desk 100 times to get up and get all those things that aren't here? So
right. And by doing that, I think because you've prevented that, I think it's weird, but you've now freed up time for space in your head to start thinking more beyond just, you know, this obsession with whatever it is that you keep getting up to get. So now you've organized this desk and it's fully clear. Now you have a clear way of just attacking your work. And mentally, maybe that will also decrease the stress. So I think it all goes hand in hand. And I find that, you know, you were it was so fascinating because you just stepped into our crazy back area. You looked in, you looked out, and you're like, I got it. Because you knew, like, you're like, and it was really interesting because you're like, you guys are very visual people. Your bins that you're using aren't going to work for you guys. And you said that. You don't need the lids. Like, it was just really interesting how you just kind of get how people think. And then that translates into your advice for that particular client or that person. So it's really interesting. And I find it's amazing. So.
Well, and I hope it's okay that I did that.
No, it was great. I was like, God, she got us right away, you know?
Because sometimes that can feel very invasive.
No.
And I think my clients always say to me that they feel so vulnerable. I mean, some have said, I feel like I'm standing in front of you naked. But the truth is that, you know, I don't judge. I just can see things that don't necessarily exist yet. Just like you can see your heart on the navy sweatshirt that I cannot wait to buy. So, you know, it's the same thing. And so it's just kind of seeing how you can utilize space better. But I think you really understand that it's a connection.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I walk into houses where people have so much. I mean, living in LA, it's beyond.
Right.
And, you know, I sometimes go back to the story a lot, but I don't know, I guess it must have been like 6 years ago or so. I went into a closet and we were organizing, going through stuff, and there's just tags everywhere. And I really just said to her, you know, I challenge you to like love what you have and shop within your closet for 30 days, because there is nothing that you need. I mean, if you need a pair of underwear or you need a pair of new white socks, okay, fine, put it on your list. But then truthfully, like, her husband walked in and there was no connection between them. Right. And I was like, oh, I got it. I know why you shop so much.
Got it.
I didn't go there with her on that. We got into some other things as to avoidance, why she's shopping
so much.
And all of that. But so I think it's just, there is that emotional connection. And I think where kind of the world around us has quieted, and we can't be running out, and we can't be trying to take our mind off our internal feelings and what's going on internally. We're forced to almost reflect. And so, Marissa, it kind of goes back to what you're saying. Well, I've reflected. So I've suffered from migraines for years. Bless you.
Bless you.
And we had to sneeze. And I have given myself permission that if I don't feel good, I am going to just take my clothes off and they are going to sit on my floor. And the next morning when I wake up, of course, I'm going to put them away because I have systems and I know where things go. And I am giving myself permission, and I would encourage each of you to give yourself permission to take care of yourself too. Because right now, the circle of who has COVID is coming closer and closer to us. And I keep hearing about, this person, they're on the peripheral friendship, but it's going to get closer, and it is. So it's okay to rest. It's okay to leave some dishes in the sink. Yeah. I would encourage you to rinse them so that when you wake up in the morning, it's just a straight load in the dishwasher. Yeah. I've done it too. And it'll always be hard, I think, to find that balance. Yeah. But you have to search within yourself to know what's good enough for you and your balance. If that makes sense.
Yes. And I think that's so interesting that you were talking about how, the world has quieted, so we cannot we can't go out and just go buy something to make ourselves feel better. But do you find that maybe that's why, we were just talking about it, it's Friday, but we're so tired. I feel so tired. And is it because mentally we're engaging in so much up here that it's exhausting us in a weird way? So thank you for telling us, give yourself permission. You're exhausted. Maybe take the day off, or take some time off, because this is exhausting. It really is.
It is. And I agree with exactly what you're saying, that, I went on a walk this morning, and I consider myself an extrovert or introvert. So I love talking to people. I love being social. Yeah. But I also need my downtime to recharge.
Yes. Oops, we just lost it.
And so this morning I was listening to Gabby Bernstein. Are you guys familiar?
No. Is it a podcast?
Are you there?
Yep, we're here. Can you hear us?
Let's see.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Are we good?
You're sort of paused, but you'll come back. Oh yeah, you're back.
There we are.
Yay. Okay. So wait, Gabby Bernstein, please tell us about her.
Yeah. So she was recommended by a friend, and basically I was just on a walk this morning, listening to her, and what kept coming back to me is exactly kind of what I've been saying to you, which is during this time, it's like you're forced to almost deal with what's inside. Yeah. And yes, that is exhausting, because if you're 43 and you've been to therapy, but if there's, wherever you are, I think we're also tired because externally, physically, we're cleaning our spaces and trying to make them work for our families because we're inside. And then internally, there's so much quiet. We're not going out to lunch. We're not seeing clients. We're not socializing in our store like you get to do. That you really have these feelings and emotions, I think, that are sitting with you. And it can be very uncomfortable.
And it's also the fear of the unknown. I'll have to admit, right? It's for me yesterday, it was just an exhausting day. It was just so exhausting. And by the time I got home, I was like, I've had it, But then 6 boxes of groceries showed up. I think it was 6:30. And usually I'm like, okay, I can attack this. This is fine. But then now we've got the added fear of now I've got to wipe off everything that comes in. I've got to wash every piece of, and that just seems it just was too much. So I think that's when you come into play, where I was like, okay, how am I going to attack this? I had to compartmentalize into one box at a time, but that in itself was just so much. And it was usually, that's nothing, where you're like, I could take that on. It's no big deal. That was just beyond. It was really weird.
So, when it comes to organizing, people always say, where do I begin? Where do I begin? What do I do? And my philosophy has always been, start small.
I love
So in that moment, I commend you, because you started small. You did one box at a time. And when we feel overwhelmed, and when we feel that chaos, you're not going to tackle anything if you see this huge big picture. So instead, you've got to break it down, which is what I do for clients. I break down where we begin, why we're beginning this way, but you did that for yourself. So that's giving yourself, I think, permission, compassion, all of those things that really we need right now. And just listening to yourself.
And listening to yourself and being okay, like you said, and like you told Marissa, like it's okay. It's okay to leave your clothes on the floor. It's really hard because especially now where we're in the house all day long and we realize like most of us, we're not in our house all day. So the kids are never in the house. They don't come home till like 6 or 7 sometimes after school and they do their sports. So we're in here all day long. In addition to, so that's why we're always clean. Like you said, you're cleaning, you're doing all these things and trying to make space for everybody. Like you said, your husband's working at home. So now you have to make a space for him, you know? So it's just, it's a lot of changes, I think. And it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot of change. One of the best things that I think I've been able to provide my clients with is, you know, as I mentioned, I'm not crazy overly active on Instagram. I should probably do more, but what I felt and what connected to me is picking up the phone and calling clients. So each week I've called 2 to 3 clients, and some of them have really needed help with kind of, how do I get it all done? Because like you said, the groceries show up and now I've got to do this, but I'm tired and I really should be doing laundry, but then I've got to be thinking about how am I going to, you know, get that assignment for my daughter tomorrow.
Yes.
And you have so much that what happens is we're just like spinning.
Yes.
And so what I've done for myself and for my family and for so many of my clients is just built in a little bit of a schedule during this time. And so it, to me, is what I refer to as a flexible schedule. It's really just your guide. It's your guide. So if you wake up and your brain is just, you know, some mornings I wake up and my migraine is so bad that if I didn't have my list of what my day's activities were, I wouldn't even know what has to get done. Right. And so it serves as a guide, but you can be flexible. So I remember this first week that we were, you know, at home. I waited till the end of the week and I had 7 loads of laundry in one day. I spent the entire day in the laundry room.
That's how we are. It's insane. Yeah. It really is. And we're not going anywhere. I'm like, how are we producing this much laundry when we're not even going anywhere? This is crazy. So I love that. So just, and you know what? Like, I really encourage everyone who's watching this to go on your Instagram. I know you don't, you're saying that now you're doing a little bit more, but you have some really great tips. Like I was on there where there was this thing at the Container Store where you could, that self-adhesive checkoff list. It was just one of those things you could put on the wall by your laundry room or wherever. So so it's self-erase also, that one. Mm-hmm. You have some really great, like just gadgets that you can use to organize. That collapsible laundry basket, I'm going to order that. I think that's a huge deal. So definitely I encourage going on your Instagram because you give such great little tips that you're like, oh, that might help a lot. You know, like.
I also feel like your Instagram is so calming to me. Like after we met you in the store, I literally went on and I started following, and Irene and I just went through and we're like, oh my God, like we're so calm.
Yeah.
Looking at this, like,
that's so nice.
Thank you.
No, for sure.
Really, my goal is just to help people simplify, systemize, organize, and because I have the design background, do it with style.
Yes, and I love that.
Yeah, things can really be done with style, and just to inspire people. Because, you know, when I was talking to this client just actually 2 days ago, and she was struggling with the laundry too, and I said, oh my God, I went through it. And so now, literally, the night before, I put 1 load in, I go to bed, wake up, transfer it. I do 1 load a day. I cannot be doing that all day. But I map it out. And maybe you can't take a full day to clean your house. Maybe one day it's vacuuming, and you do the floors, and the next day it's windows, and just kind of break stuff out. But most importantly, what I kept telling a lot of my clients, because a lot of them are moms and some, you know, have toddlers, and I feel like they're running these preschools with their kids.
I know, it's insane.
I think every age is hard, but so I just said carve out some time for yourself.
Yeah.
Just you got to do it.
And I guess it goes back to your whole, the whole thing of compartmentalizing. I think if you see it in compartmentalized things, then it's not such this huge, oh my God, I've got 8 loads of, like that, where it's like, let's compartmentalize. So are you taking on new clients where people feel like are you doing that right now, or how are you doing that?
So I am literally technically challenged. If I knew how to build out my website and be able to take my clients virtually or take new clients virtually, I absolutely would, because I just love helping people. That's really why I do this. I love seeing the transformation in people's lives, the shift, the emotional shift, the mental shift, the weight shift I see for people. Just all of it, the way that it affects our well-being. So I'm hoping maybe I would love to get to 10,000 followers, because then I can get that swipe up and I can keep posting things that people can actually just click and buy, which I think would be beneficial. But again, my mission is just to really bring value to people's lives, to make their lives calmer, simplified, systemized, and just teach people kind of to love and learn to live with what you need. And everything presents a challenge, because during this time I've been able to have time to reflect and let go a little bit, and just know that, okay, I have systems in place, and kids will be putting their stuff.
Oh, we just lost Amy. Hello? Hello? I think you'll come back in a second. Oh, this is such the good part. Hello? Oh, no.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a basket, designed, beautiful Serena Lily basket. Matches the decor of my house. But when I just find the kids' stuff or things that don't belong in that location, I just stick it in, and at the end of the night, everyone gets their stuff and takes it up. And I think that right now, when we're all living together and people are here all the time, and also, yes, we work, but I also have help in the house. I help the kids because I'm working. I have help with cleaning the house. I don't have any of those things right now. So we're really trying to work together. So you've got to ask yourself, if something's not working, why? What can I do to make it better? And then just keep extracting to get to a solution. And that's literally like my favorite thing. So
and I think that goes, I love that, because
do you have a name for that system? The lost and found system? What do you refer to that as?
Oh, in our house, I literally just have a relocate bin.
Relocate bin.
Relocate bin.
Marissa, we're going to do that at the office.
Because the truth is,
it's going to be all my stuff.
So the truth is, I was saying to somebody that when you look at what it is, it doesn't belong in the space. It's not. I also have a donate bin. It's not going in donate, and it's not trash. It's just in the wrong
relocate.
Place.
I love that.
So someone said to me, "Well, how many times do you put your husband and kids in the relocate bin?"
I love that.
That's amazing. But I love that, and I think that goes back to your whole entire thesis. And I always find, like, every person I meet that we talk to, they always have a thesis, and your thesis is like, and I wrote it down because I find it so great. Organizing is a practice and not a project. And I think that's your thing, is like, you have to practice it every day. It's just like working out. I feel like it can't be just a project that you attack and you're like, I've organized my closet. But if you're not practicing relocating, organizing, and also at a deeper level, why am I buying all these things? Why do I have, then I think it's just, then that's just a project, but you haven't solved the real crux of the problem as to why is this so messy here? Why do I have so much stuff? And I think that all goes back to, it comes back into within, where it's something you have to solve within.
But I think that also dovetails into, there was something, it's Marie Kondo, right?
Yeah.
There's something that resonated with me with her, where, she sort of did an inventory of things, and then for certain things, you sort of thank that thing, and then it goes to be donated. What's your approach to that? Because it's a common problem. It's a universal problem, where, Yeah. So
Yeah,
how do you approach the same idea?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Before Marie Kondo and the Sparking Joy, I had always said to clients, especially, you know, with clothing and with memorabilia and things like that, I would say, does it bring you, I focus on happy. Happy is just my word. So I said, does it bring you happiness? And then my client's like, yeah, that makes me happy. And so then I'll say to them, you know, if it's clothing, do you feel your best self in it? When you are your sexiest and most gorgeous, and is that what you want to be wearing? And they'll look at me and say, no. So then I've said to them, then thank it for serving its purpose.
I love that.
Acknowledge that.
I love that.
And it's okay to let it go. And I also try to encourage people, and I think about it a lot, is when you let something go, one man's junk is another man's treasure.
Yeah.
And so really, when I give something to someone or when I donate it, and my daughter's 14, she's super into thrifting, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to see this is bringing you pleasure.
Yeah.
But it didn't make the other person happy, so we're just like
Swapping
and shifting the energy.
I love that.
Which I kind of love.
And I love that. I find like my daughter's 14 too, and she's super into thrifting. Like she doesn't even want to go to the big stores. Like on the weekend, she'll be like, can we go to the thrift shop in Berkeley? Because there's so many in Berkeley. Now we can't. But like that's one of the really happy things that we do. And I personally am such a vintage shopper anyways, because I love unique pieces. And you're so right, because when I find those treasures, I'm like, I'm going to take really good care of this now. Someone gave it away and they didn't need it anymore. But my whole thing is like half of our house is refurbished stuff, because I find, let's just refurbish it, give it a new life. And so I love that. I love that. And I think it's hard to get rid of stuff.
But that's interesting too, because it sounds like, I mean, with clothing, I get it, you know, does it make you feel amazing, right? But it sounds like you work with sort of a threshold, because everything you have gives you some measure of happiness, but you're saying that's fine, but it has to really make you happy to keep it. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it should really resonate with you. You know, when my mom passed away, I think my aunt was hanging on to my mom's china. Well, I got china for my wedding. We used it actually this week for Passover, but really, who uses china anymore?
Right.
And so my aunt was holding on to it, and when I was talking to her, and she's the one you met, because she picked me up.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, she is. Okay, she needs to have her own show on her own. Okay, like I would watch her all day long. She's amazing. She's amazing.
She's pretty hilarious.
Yes, she's awesome.
And so she was feeling so stressed when I was talking to her, and I was like, why are you so stressed? And she's like, well, just because I've been holding on to this box, and it's for you, and it's in my possession. And I said, oh my gosh, let me go through the box. Let me take this off of you, because this is too much.
Yeah.
And when I went through it, I said, I don't want it. And she looked at me and says, well, what do you mean you don't want it? It's your mother's Lenox china.
Right.
And, you know, this was yours, and I packed it up since the day she passed away, and blah, blah. And I said, Marilyn, I don't want it. As a keepsake, the only thing in there is this small little candy dish that I will keep, because that I'll use.
Yes.
And that will look pretty out when I'm serving dessert. But I don't
love
want this
that.
whole set. And I gave myself permission to not keep it, because that's not what reminds me of my mom. But you know who had the harder time with it? She did.
Wow.
And so I tried to help her, which I have to tell you, I think it's an older generation. They were so used to and fear of going without.
Yes.
And I said, release it. It's okay. I don't want it. And someone else is going to enjoy it. And I think that's the key. So sexiest, or if it's china, or if it's an old picture, you know, that someone painted you, but it's never connected to you, and you've never felt that emotional connection to it, and you don't envision it in your house, like, it's okay to pass it on. I definitely like what Marie Kondo says, and I've always said it, acknowledge it, thank it for serving its purpose, because it's just it's like the transfer of energy, I feel like.
Love that.
But it's okay. So that's the same thing with permission. Give yourself permission to let it go. Marissa, give yourself permission to be in the moment of your exhaustion and lay down and put your feet up and go watch Bravo. You know?
I love that. Release it.
Right.
I think that's great. And it, like, release it, I guess it goes back to internally, and also release the stuff that's bringing you down or weighing you down. And I think that's a great way to end it. I think it's just release it. And I think that's how we should, I guess, do you have any pearls of wisdom for releasing it at this time?
I was going to ask the same thing. So once you've thanked the things and you've determined, what's your approach to releasing them? What are your methods for releasing them?
Donating, I guess.
I mean, exactly. So I love to donate, my kids' stuff to a preschool. Obviously, people are not taking stuff right now. I will tell you, I have a garbage bag in the garage that when we're finding things, or I went to put on a shirt and I was like, oh my God, this is so bad, And I was like, took it down to the garage, put it in there because it's bad on me, but it's going to be great on someone else.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's how we should approach even our days, like you said, like release that energy, and that, if you're feeling so much tension and so much, just like yesterday, you just have to release it by maybe compartmentalizing, like you said, maybe having that kind of schedule that's flexible, but having some form of a structure, because that allows for you to then have little compartments. So it's
and
not
self-awareness. I think that, like you said, the self-awareness of just kind of doing that check within yourself is huge too.
And I found that it's one of the ironies of this COVID time, because I was hoping to use this time I've got a lot of stuff I need to release, but I can't release it. So, but your idea of putting it in garbage bag in the garage, so that when we are released, we can release the things that need to be released.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, so it's just having a plan to your plan. Your plan is to let it go.
Oh my God.
Okay? If you're going to let it go, it's not going to still stay in the closet or sit in the living room.
Yeah, she is.
I'm going to get it prepped to get it out.
There you go.
Thank you. I think
Thank
you really helped, I think, so many people today, and just in just so many ways, and how to think about things. And I really suggest everyone going to your website and your Instagram, because I think...
Well, what's the best way we can find you? Where can we find you? What are the various links and places?
Just on my Instagram, which is Amy Suddleson, and my website, which is amysuddleson.com. And I have a contact page, and people can DM me. I mean, it's funny. I got a DM from somebody who said, oh, my daughter's moving into college. I don't know how to, organize or store, her medical things, And so I sent her a link, and she's like, that was so nice of you to take the time and give me the exact product. But that's what I want to do. I want to provide resources. I want to help people, which is why I really want to get to 10,000. So help me get to 10,000.
We will.
Okay.
I think if you need to,
Come on,
so
everybody.
that she's got to, so that we can.
You got to be able to swipe up.
You've got so many treasures, and I think it's just like so many little things. I was like, oh my God, that's genius, or whatever it was that I'm like, that's perfect. We're gonna put it in the pantry. That, I swear to God, everyone needs to get that Container Store self-adhesive. It's like this board that you can. Is it you adhere to things? Can you take it off?
So, what?
Can you take it off after, or is it gonna be adhered to the wall?
Yeah,
okay.
So it's just a adhesive, like it has the pen. Are you talking about where you just kind of write what's in it? Yeah. So basically, a lot of my clients, area very up high, I refer to it as it's inactive. It's not the most active space, but let's use it. Yeah. So now is a great time with COVID, where everybody's backstocking. Right. That you could put those things up high. You can conceal them visually with style, put them in a basket, so you don't have to just see a bunch of stuff crammed up there.
Exactly.
And then the solution, so it's walking through those steps we kind of talked about, is putting up one of those little sticky, it's a board, it's like a dry erase, and
I love it.
Write the things that are inside. So rather than running to the store, we can look and say, oh, I've got more flour up there. Oh, I've got more sugar. I've got more bars. And so I always say to clients, and I do it myself, which is I kind of, stock my pantry with, from my own market. Because right now, and it was making me crazy. So I put it on a shelf in the garage. It's organized, but I go out to the garage to get more items to stock my pantry during this time. So there's just lots of little tips and tricks, but really it's just finding out kind of what's bugging you, what's getting at you, and breaking it down as to what works for you. You know, there's a lot of hype over pantry and there's a lot of hype over closets. Well, if you're sitting at your desk all day long, focus on your desk. If you're,
love it.
You know, just certain things like that. So you got to connect with yourself.
Yep. And start small, like you said. Don't try to think you're going to organize your whole house. Maybe it's just that drawer.
Right.
But then it's like, she has such great little tiny, like, you just have so many great tips. So it's just getting inspired by your website or your Instagram of like, if you're going to attack a drawer, how should I attack it? And what kind of tools should I get to make this drawer look neat? So thank you so much. Honestly, like that was really like, wow. I feel better talking to you now. So thank you.
Thank you.
Right, we all feel you've made us all feel better. Seriously, thank you so much. Honestly.
I think I'll go put myself in the relocation bin.
Yeah, Matt's gonna go he's gonna go in the relocation bin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Thank you so much.
I know, right?
Okay, you gotta stop.